Marcus Thompson was tired, very tired. He had just finished another long night at the warehouse, moving boxes and loading trucks. His back hurt and his eyes felt heavy. All he wanted was to get home, check on his kids, and maybe sleep for a few hours before they woke up for school. The clock on his truck dashboard showed 2:47 a.m. Highway 47 was dark and empty. Marcus liked driving this road at night because there was no traffic. He could think about things. Think about his kids, Emma and Tyler. Think about how he would pay the bills this month. Think about his late wife and how much he missed her. Marcus rubbed his eyes and took a sip of cold coffee from his thermos. The coffee was bitter, but it helped him stay awake. He turned on the radio, looking for some music to keep him company. Static filled the truck. He turned the dial, searching for a clear station. Then he saw something strange. Black marks on the road, long dark streaks that curved off to the right side of the highway. Skid marks, fresh ones. Marcus slowed down his truck. His military training from years ago kicked in. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Most people would have kept driving. It was late. It was dark. It was none of their business. But Marcus was not like most people. His father had taught him to always help others even when it was hard. Even when you were tired. Marcus pulled his truck to the side of the road and turned on his hazard lights. He grabbed his flashlight from the glove box and got out. The night air was cold. He could see his breath. The only sound was the wind moving through the trees. He walked to where the skid marks left the road. His flashlight beam cut through the darkness. The marks went down a steep hill into thick brush and trees. Marcus's heart started beating faster. Someone had crashed. Someone needed help. "Hello?" he called out. "Is anyone down there?" No answer. Just the wind. Marcus carefully made his way down the embankment. The ground was loose and rocky. He had to grab onto branches to keep from falling. His work boots slipped on the dirt. The flashlight bounced in his hand, making shadows dance between the trees. Then he saw it, metal reflecting in his flashlight beam. A car, no, not a car. A police cruiser. It was upside down, hidden in the bushes. The front was smashed. Glass was everywhere. "Oh God," Marcus whispered. He moved faster, half running, half sliding down the hill. When he reached the cruiser, his stomach dropped. Someone was inside. A police officer, a woman. She was trapped, hanging upside down by her seatbelt. Blood covered her face. Her uniform was torn. Her leg was bent at a wrong angle. "Hey, can you hear me?" Marcus shouted. He dropped to his knees beside the driver's window. The glass was broken. He could reach inside. The officer's eyes opened slightly. She tried to speak, but only a small sound came out. She was barely conscious. Marcus's hands were shaking, but his mind was clear. He had seen bad things before, during his time in the military. He knew what to do. First call for help. Then stop the bleeding. He pulled out his cell phone. His fingers fumbled with the screen. He dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? A calm voice answered. "There's been a bad accident on Highway 47, Marcus said quickly. About 5 miles north of the junction. A police car went off the road. The officer is badly hurt. She's trapped and bleeding. We need an ambulance now." "Stay calm, sir. Help is on the way. Can you tell me about her injuries?" Marcus looked at the officer more carefully. His flashlight showed blood coming from a deep cut on her leg. "A lot of blood. Too much blood. Her leg is bleeding badly," Marcus said. "Really badly. There's a cut, a big one, high up on her leg. And she's not really awake. She keeps closing her eyes. Sir, I need you to keep her talking. Keep her awake." "Can you do that?" "Yes, but the bleeding. Do you know first aid?" "I was in the Army, basic combat medic training." "Good. Apply pressure to the wound. Use anything you have. A shirt, a cloth, anything clean." Marcus looked at his jacket. It was his only warm jacket, but that didn't matter now. He took it off and pushed it through the broken window. But the angle was wrong. He couldn't reach her leg properly. The officer was upside down and the seatbelt held her in place. "I can't reach it," Marcus said into the phone. "She's trapped. I need to get her out. No, do not move her. She might have spine injuries. Wait for the paramedics." But Marcus saw how much blood was pooling on the roof of the car. The officer's face was getting paler. Her breathing was shallow and fast. She was going into shock. He made a decision. "I have to do something," Marcus said. "She's dying." He put the phone on speaker and set it on the ground. Then he reached through the window as far as he could. His shoulder scraped against broken glass. He didn't care. His fingers found the seatbelt buckle. "Stay with me," he told the officer. "I'm going to get you out. What's your name?" Her lips moved. "Sarah," she whispered. "Officer Chen." "Okay, Sarah, I'm Marcus. I'm going to help you." He pressed the seatbelt release. Nothing happened. It was jammed. Of course it was jammed. Nothing was ever easy. Marcus pulled out his pocket knife. He always carried it for work. He started sawing at the seatbelt. The fabric was thick and strong. It took forever. His arm ached from reaching through the window at the wrong angle. "Talk to me, Sarah," he said while he worked. "Stay awake. Tell me something, anything." "Cold," she mumbled. "So cold, I know." "Help is coming. Just a few more minutes." The seatbelt finally gave way. Sarah fell. Marcus caught her as best he could, trying to support her head and neck. He carefully pulled her through the window. Every movement had to be slow and gentle. She cried out in pain. I'm sorry, Marcus said. "Almost there." He got her out and laid her on the ground. Now he could see the injury clearly. A deep gash on her upper leg. The blood was dark and flowing steadily. Arterial bleeding. That was very bad. Very, very bad. Marcus took off his belt. His pants felt loose, but he didn't care. He wrapped the belt around Sarah's leg just above the wound. He pulled it tight. She screamed. "I know it hurts," he said, "but this will save your life." He made the belt as tight as he could, then twisted it with a stick to make it tighter. A tourniquet, just like they taught him in the army. The bleeding slowed to a trickle. "Marcus?" The 911 operator's voice came from the phone on the ground. "Marcus, are you there?" "I'm here. I stopped the bleeding with a tourniquet." "Good, that's good. The ambulance is 8 minutes away." 8 minutes. That was a lifetime. Marcus looked at Sarah's face. Her eyes were closed again. "Sarah, open your eyes. Look at me." He patted her cheek gently. "Come on, Officer Chen, stay awake." Her eyes fluttered open. "My kids," she whispered. Marcus's heart stopped. "You have kids?" Known the case. Kids at the center. Files in the trunk, and she was confused. Probably from blood loss. Marcus kept talking to her, anything to keep her conscious. He told her about his own kids. About Emma's love for drawing. About Tyler's obsession with dinosaurs. He told her about his warehouse job. About his truck. About anything he could think of. Sarah's hand found his and squeezed weakly. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Then Marcus heard it. The most beautiful sound in the world, sirens, distant but getting closer. "They're coming, Sarah, they're almost here. Just hold on." Red and blue lights appeared at the top of the embankment. Voices shouted. People were coming down the hill. Paramedics with equipment, more police officers. A female paramedic reached them first. She took one look at Sarah and the tourniquet and nodded at Marcus. "You did good," she said. "Really good. What's your name?" "Marcus Thompson." "Marcus, you just saved her life." Another few minutes and she would have bled out. More paramedics arrived. They surrounded Sarah with equipment and efficiency. One of them, an older man with gray hair, looked at Marcus. "The tourniquet was perfect," he said. "How did you know what to do?" "Army medic training. Long time ago." They worked fast, putting Sarah on a backboard, checking her vital signs, starting an IV. Marcus stepped back, giving them room to work. His hands were covered in blood. Sarah's blood. He felt dizzy suddenly. A police officer, a big man with sergeant stripes, came over to Marcus. "You found her?" "Yes, sir. I saw the skid marks and came down to check." "How long has she been down here?" Marcus looked at the crash scene. The grass around the car was bent and dry. Judging by the scene, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Nobody saw her go off the road. The sergeant's face went pale. 2 or 3 hours? Jesus, if you hadn't stopped. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. The paramedics were loading Sarah onto a stretcher. As they carried her past Marcus, Sarah's hand reached out. Her fingers wrapped around his wrist. "Thank you," she whispered. Her voice was so soft Marcus almost didn't hear it. Then she said something that confused him. "Evidence, trunk. Don't let them take the files." Before Marcus could ask what she meant, the paramedics carried her away. They moved quickly up the hill, the stretcher bouncing slightly. Within minutes, Sarah was in the ambulance. The siren started again and the ambulance sped away into the night. Marcus stood there alone, covered in blood and dirt. The sergeant was talking to other officers, pointing at the crash scene. Crime scene tape was going up. Photographers were taking pictures. Then Marcus remembered. The trunk. Sarah had said something about the trunk and files. He walked to the back of the overturned cruiser. The trunk was partially open, damaged in the crash. Inside, papers were scattered everywhere. File folders, documents. Marcus made it home just as the sun fully rose over the neighborhood. His small house looked the same as always, but everything felt different now. He sat in his truck for a moment, looking at his hands. He had scrubbed them at a gas station, but there was still blood under his fingernails. He walked inside quietly. The house was silent. Good. Emma and Tyler were still asleep. He had maybe an hour before they woke up. Marcus went straight to the bathroom and turned on the shower. He stood under the hot water for a long time, watching the pink water circle the drain. His shoulder hurt where it had scraped against the car window. He would have a nasty bruise there tomorrow. When he got out, he heard small footsteps in the hallway. "Daddy?" It was Tyler, his 5-year-old son. The boy stood in the doorway, rubbing his eyes. His dinosaur pajamas were wrinkled. "You're home early." Marcus wrapped a towel around himself and smiled. "Yeah, buddy. Work ended a little early today. Can we have pancakes?" "Sure, go wake up your sister. I'll get dressed and start cooking." Tyler ran off, happy and innocent. Marcus closed his eyes. Thank God his kids hadn't seen him covered in blood. Thank God they didn't know what he had just been through. As Marcus made pancakes, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered it carefully. "Mr. Thompson? This is Detective Rivera. We met last night." "Yes, sir. I remember. I wanted to give you an update. Officer Chen is out of surgery. The doctors say she's going to make it. Thanks to you." Marcus felt relief wash over him. "That's good. That's really good. She lost a lot of blood, but your tourniquet saved her life. The doctors were very clear about that. If you hadn't been there, if you hadn't stopped..." Rivera's voice trailed off. "Anyway, I wanted you to know. She's in intensive care, but stable. Thank you for telling me. I still need that statement. Can you come by the station this afternoon? Around 3? Marcus thought about his schedule. He was supposed to sleep today, then work again tonight. But this was important. "Yes, I can do that. Good. And Mr. Thompson? Bring that business card I gave you. You'll need it to get through security." After breakfast, Marcus called his supervisor at the warehouse. He explained that he needed to sleep and wouldn't be in until late, if at all. His supervisor wasn't happy, but agreed. Marcus had never missed a shift before. He got the kids ready for school, packed their lunches, and drove them to Roosevelt Elementary. Emma, his 8-year-old, was unusually quiet in the back seat. "Daddy, are you okay?" she asked as they pulled up to the school. "I'm fine, sweetie. Why do you ask?" "You seem tired. More tired than normal." Marcus looked at his daughter in the rearview mirror. She was too smart for her age. Too observant. It came from losing her mother. She watched everyone closely now, worried about losing someone else. "I am tired," Marcus admitted, "but I'm okay. I promise." Emma didn't look convinced, but she got out of the car with Tyler. Marcus watched them walk into the school, Emma holding Tyler's hand like she always did. They were good kids. Strong kids. He was so proud of them. At 3 o'clock, Marcus arrived at the police station. The building was old and gray, with narrow windows and tired paint. He showed Rivera's card to the officer at the front desk. "Oh, you're the guy who found Chen," the officer said. His whole attitude changed. "Everyone's been talking about you. Go right up. Second floor, last office on the right." As Marcus walked through the station, officers stopped to look at him. Some nodded. Some said quiet thank yous. It made Marcus uncomfortable. He hadn't done anything special. He had just helped someone who needed help. Detective Rivera's office was small and messy. Files covered every surface. A coffee maker in the corner looked like it had been there since the 1990s. "Mr. Thompson, come in. Sit down." Rivera closed the door behind them. "This is going to take a while. I need every detail you can remember from last night." For the next hour, Marcus told the story. When he saw the skid marks. How he found the car. Sarah's injuries. The tourniquet. The files in the trunk. Everything. Rivera took notes on an old computer, typing with 2 fingers. When Marcus finished, the detective sat back in his chair. "You said Officer Chen mentioned the files specifically, even though she was badly injured?" "Yes, she seemed really worried about them. More worried about the files than about herself." Rivera nodded slowly. "Those files are important. Very important. Sarah has been working on a case for 6 months. A big case. She wouldn't talk about it much, but I know it was sensitive." "What kind of case?" Rivera hesitated. I shouldn't tell you this, but given what you did for Sarah, I think you deserve to know. There's money missing from the Eastside Youth Center. A lot of money. Money that was supposed to help kids. Sarah was investigating it. Marcus felt his chest tighten. The Eastside Youth Center. He knew that place. Knew it well. How much money? He asked quietly. We think over $200,000. Maybe more. Sarah was getting close to proving who took it. That's why those files are so important. Marcus's mind was racing. The youth center had helped him when he was a teenager. After his father left, after he started getting in trouble, the center had given him a second chance. They gave him counseling, job training, a mentor who actually cared. They had saved his life. Do you know who took the money? Marcus asked. We have suspicions, but no proof yet. That's what Sarah was working on. She was supposed to meet with a witness the night of the accident. Someone who had information. But she never made it to the meeting, because she went off the road. Right. And now the witness won't talk to anyone else. Says he only trusts Sarah. Rivera stood and walked to the window. Outside, police cars came and went from the parking lot. Sarah is the best investigator I have, Rivera said. Smart, dedicated, she doesn't give up. This case means a lot to her personally. Her younger brother used to go to that youth center before he died. I'm sorry, Marcus said. It was a long time ago. 10 years. He was killed in a gang shooting. Innocent bystander. Sarah became a cop because of him. And when she heard about the missing money, she took it personally. All those kids who need help and someone is stealing from them. Marcus understood. He understood completely. Rivera turned back to Marcus. The department wants to give you a commendation. A public ceremony. Recognition for what you did. No, Marcus said immediately. I don't want that, but I just did what anyone should do. I don't need recognition. I just want to make sure Officer Chen is okay. Rivera studied Marcus for a long moment. You're an unusual man, Mr. Thompson. I'm just a guy who works in a warehouse now, and you're more than that. I ran your background check this morning. Standard procedure for anyone involved in a case like this. Marcus tensed. He knew what was coming. You have an interesting history, Rivera continued. Military service. Honorable discharge. Good record. But before that, when you were a teenager, you had some trouble. Shoplifting, fighting. You were headed down a bad road. That was a long time ago, Marcus said quietly. But something changed. You turned your life around. Got your GED, joined the army, made something of yourself. What happened? Marcus was silent for a moment. The Eastside Youth Center happened. They gave me a chance when nobody else would. A counselor there, Mr. Patterson, he believed in me. He helped me see that I could be more than just another kid from a broken home. Rivera's eyebrows went up. The same youth center where the money is missing? Yes. So this case, it affects you personally too. Those kids at the center, they're like I was. They need help. They need hope. And someone is stealing from them. That makes me angry. Rivera sat down again. He looked at Marcus differently now. What do you do at the warehouse? I load trucks mostly, but I used to do the books for a small business. I know accounting. I'm good with numbers and financial records, really. Rivera looked interested. How good? Good enough. I went to community college for 2 years, studied business and accounting. But then my wife got sick and I had to drop out to take care of her and the kids. Rivera picked up a file from his desk, one of the files from Sarah's trunk. These financial records, they're complicated. Sarah was having trouble making sense of some of them. She said whoever stole the money was smart. They hid the trail well. Can I see? Rivera hesitated, then handed over the file. This doesn't leave this room. And technically, I shouldn't be showing a civilian an active investigation. Marcus opened the file. Inside were bank statements, receipts, transfer records, donation forms. He studied them carefully, his trained eye picking out patterns. Whoever did this knew what they were doing, Marcus said after a few minutes. See here? These donations are being split. Part goes to the legitimate accounts, part goes somewhere else. But it's done slowly over time. Small amounts that wouldn't trigger an audit. Can you tell where the money went? Marcus flipped through more pages. Not from just this. I'd need to see all the records together. Compare them. Look for patterns. Rivera made a decision. How would you feel about helping us? Off the books, of course. You'd be a consultant. We'd pay you for your time. I don't need money, but I want to help. For those kids, I can't let you work for free. Department rules. How about $20 an hour? That was less than Marcus made at the warehouse, but he didn't care. Okay, when do we start? Now, if you have time, we need to go visit Sarah in the hospital. She's awake and she's asking about the files. 3 days after finding Sarah, Marcus found himself standing outside the Eastside Youth Center. The building looked the same as he remembered from 15 years ago. Red brick walls, basketball hoops in the parking lot, a bright banner that read Building Better Futures, but Marcus was different. He wasn't that angry teenager anymore. He was a father, a warehouse worker, and now somehow he was helping with a police investigation. Inside his jacket pocket was a small recording device Rivera had given him. It made Marcus nervous. He wasn't a spy. He was just trying to help. The youth center was hosting a community dinner tonight. Marcus had seen the flyer at Emma's school. It was the perfect opportunity to approach Margaret Foster naturally, with lots of people around. Marcus walked inside. The smell hit him immediately. Old gym floor polish and fresh paint. The same smell from his teenage years. For a moment he was 16 again, walking through these doors for the first time, scared and defensive. "Can I help you?" A young woman at the front desk smiled at him. "I'm here for the community dinner," Marcus said. "Great. Sign in here, please." She handed him a clipboard. "Dinner is in the multi-purpose room. Just follow the hallway." Marcus signed his name and walked down the familiar hallway. Photos lined the walls. Pictures of kids playing basketball, doing art projects, graduating from high school, success stories. Kids who had made it. There was a photo from 15 years ago. Marcus stopped. He recognized faces, kids he had known. And there in the back row was himself, younger, thinner, angry-looking, but there. The caption read Summer Program 2010. Looking at the old photos, Marcus turned. An elderly man stood beside him, leaning on a cane. Marcus's heart skipped. "Mr. Patterson?" The old man squinted, then his face broke into a huge smile. Marcus Thompson? Is that really you?" "Yes, sir. It's me." Mr. Patterson pulled Marcus into a hug. The old counselor was smaller than Marcus remembered, more fragile. But his embrace was still warm and strong. "I can't believe it," Mr. Patterson said. "I think about you sometimes. Wonder how you turned out. And here you are." "I'm good, sir. I'm doing good. I have 2 kids now. Emma and Tyler." "Kids? That's wonderful. Are you married?" "I was. My wife passed away 2 years ago. Cancer." Mr. Patterson's face fell. "Oh, Marcus. I'm so sorry. Thank you. We're managing. The kids are strong." They talked for a few minutes. Marcus told him about his life, his military service, his warehouse job, how hard it was being a single father, but how much he loved his children. "I'm proud of you," Mr. Patterson said finally. "So proud. You took the chances we gave you and made something real. That's all we ever wanted for you kids. You saved my life," Marcus said simply. "This place saved my life." "No, you saved your own life. We just gave you the tools." They walked together toward the multi-purpose room. Inside, tables were set up with food. Families sat together, eating and talking. Kids ran around laughing. It was warm and loud and full of life. "Mr. Patterson, can I ask you something?" "Of course. I heard there have been some problems here." "Financial problems." The old man's smile faded. "You heard about that?" "A little." "Is it true?" Mr. Patterson sighed. "There's money missing. A lot of it. The police are investigating, but it's been hard. The board is worried. If we can't find the money, we might have to cut programs, maybe even close." Marcus felt anger building in his chest. Who would steal from kids? "I don't know. I wish I did." Mr. Patterson looked around the room sadly. "These kids need this place, just like you needed it once." Marcus saw a woman standing alone near the kitchen door. She was in her 50s with gray hair pulled back in a bun. She looked nervous, checking her watch every few seconds. "Who is that?" Marcus asked casually. "Oh, that's Margaret Foster, our bookkeeper. She's been here forever. Wonderful woman, but she's been stressed lately. I think the money situation is weighing on her." That was her. Margaret, Sarah's witness. "I should go say hello to people," Mr. Patterson said. "But Marcus, come back anytime. Bring your kids." "I'd love to meet them. I will." "Thank you, Mr. Patterson." Marcus got a plate of food and positioned himself near Margaret. She was alone, not eating, just watching the crowd. Up close, Marcus could see she looked tired and scared. He approached slowly, carefully. "Excuse me, are you Margaret Foster?" She jumped slightly. "Yes, do I know you?" "No, ma'am." My name is Marcus Thompson. I used to come here as a kid. This place really helped me. Margaret relaxed slightly. That's nice to hear. We need more success stories like yours. I heard you've been here a long time. 23 years. That's dedication. They made small talk for a few minutes. Marcus was careful, not pushing, just being friendly. Then he saw his opening. I actually wanted to talk to you about something, Marcus said quietly. A mutual friend sent me. Officer Sarah Chen. Margaret's face went white. She looked around quickly, panic in her eyes. It's okay, Marcus said softly. Sarah is safe. She wanted me to tell you something. She said to mention the word lighthouse. That was the code word Sarah had given him. Margaret stared at Marcus for a long moment, her hands shaking. You know about... She couldn't finish the sentence. I know Sarah was in an accident. I know she was investigating something important. And I know she trusts you. How do I know you're really from Sarah? How do I know you're not working for... She stopped herself. Marcus pulled out his phone. On it was a photo Rivera had taken. Marcus standing next to Sarah's hospital bed, Sarah giving a weak thumbs up. Sarah is recovering from her injuries, but she can't work the case right now. She asked me to help. Are you a cop? No, I'm just someone who cares about this place. Someone who knows what it's like to need help. Margaret looked at the photo, then at Marcus. She was trying to decide whether to trust him. Can we meet somewhere private? Marcus asked. Somewhere safe. You name the place and time. Margaret was silent for a long time. The noise of the dinner swirled around them, but Marcus waited patiently. Tomorrow, Margaret finally said. 1 o'clock. The public library, 3rd floor, study room C. Tell Sarah I'll bring everything. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. What I have to show you, it's bad. Really bad. Before Marcus could ask more, Margaret walked away quickly, disappearing into the kitchen. Marcus watched her go, his heart pounding. He had done it. Step 1 was complete. Marcus stayed at the dinner for another hour, talking to old friends and meeting new families. He saw kids who reminded him of himself. Kids who needed this place to survive and grow. As he was leaving, Marcus bumped into someone in the parking lot. A man in an expensive suit. Sorry, Marcus said. The man looked at him coldly. He was in his 50s with silver hair and hard eyes. Watch where you're going. Marcus was about to apologize again when he saw the man's campaign button. Vote Brennan, a leader who cares. This was him. David Brennan. The man Sarah believed was stealing from the youth center. You're Councilman Brennan, Marcus said. Brennan's expression changed slightly. The cold look became a political smile. Fake and practiced, yes I am. Do we know each other? No, sir. I just recognize you from TV. You do a lot for the community. I try to help where I can. These kids need strong leadership. There was something off about the way Brennan said it, like he was reading from a script. His eyes didn't match his smile. Do you volunteer here often? Marcus asked. I'm on the board of directors. I make sure things run smoothly. Keep an eye on the finances. Brennan checked his expensive watch. Now if you'll excuse me, I have another meeting. He walked away toward a black luxury car. Marcus watched him go. That was the man. The thief. Marcus was sure of it now. He could feel it. Marcus drove home, his mind racing. Tomorrow he would meet Margaret. Tomorrow he would learn the truth. At home, Emma and Tyler were watching cartoons. Marcus's neighbor, Mrs. Chen, an elderly woman who sometimes babysat, was knitting on the couch. How was your evening? She asked. Educational, Marcus said. He paid her and thanked her. After Mrs. Chen left, Marcus made hot chocolate for the kids. They sat together on the couch, warm mugs in their hands. Daddy, why were you at that place? Emma asked. Marcus had told them he was going to his old youth center. I wanted to see it again. Remember where I came from? Did it make you sad? Marcus thought about that. A little, but also happy. That place helped me become the person I am. It helped me become your daddy. Tyler snuggled closer. I'm glad you're our daddy. Me too, buddy. Me too. After the kids went to bed, Marcus called Detective Rivera. How did it go? Rivera asked immediately. Contact made. Margaret agreed to meet. Tomorrow at 1 at the public library. Good. That's really good. I'll have officers nearby, undercover. I also ran into Brennan. You what? Marcus explained the encounter. When he finished, Rivera was silent for a moment. Be careful, Marcus. If Brennan suspects anything, he could be dangerous. I didn't tell him anything. Just had a normal conversation. Still, watch your back. After hanging up, Marcus couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. What was he doing? He was a warehouse worker, not an investigator. He had kids to think about. Kids who needed him. But then he thought about all the other kids. The ones at the youth center. The ones who needed help just like he had needed help. He had to see this through. The next morning, Marcus took a sick day from the warehouse. He dropped Emma and Tyler at school, then drove to the hospital to see Sarah. Marcus woke up to his phone ringing. The sun wasn't up yet. He grabbed the phone, his heart racing. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Thompson, this is District Attorney Catherine Walsh. Detective Rivera gave me your number. I need you to come to my office immediately. Marcus looked at the clock. 5:30 in the morning. What's wrong? Margaret Foster is missing. Her daughter called us an hour ago. Margaret never came home last night. Marcus was instantly awake. Missing? You were supposed to protect her. We sent officers to her house last night. She was gone. Her car is still in the library parking garage. We're treating this as a kidnapping. Marcus got dressed quickly, his mind racing. Margaret had the original documents. If Brennan had her, he had the evidence too. I'll be there in 20 minutes, Marcus said. The district attorney's office was downtown, in an old building that looked like it belonged in a black and white movie. Marcus showed his ID to security and was escorted upstairs. Catherine Walsh was younger than Marcus expected, maybe 40 with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense expression. Rivera was already in her office, along with 2 other detectives. Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming, Walsh said. I need to understand exactly what evidence Margaret Foster had. Marcus pulled out his phone. I photographed everything. It's all here. Financial records showing money being moved to shell companies. Email correspondence between Brennan and Margaret. Bank statements that don't match donation records. He handed his phone to Walsh. She scrolled through the photos, her expression getting more serious with each image. This is good, she said finally. This is really good. With Margaret's testimony, we could build a solid case against Brennan. But she's missing, Rivera said. Without her, these are just photos. Defense attorneys will say they could be fake or taken out of context. What about the original documents? Marcus asked. We searched the library parking garage. Margaret's car was there, but no documents. Whoever took her took the evidence too. Marcus felt sick. Margaret had been brave enough to come forward, and now she was gone. Because of him. Because he had asked her to meet. There's something else, Walsh said. She pulled up a video on her computer. This is security footage from the library parking garage yesterday. The video showed Marcus and Margaret walking to her car. They talked for a moment. Margaret drove away. Then Marcus walked toward his truck, but the camera also caught something else. 3 men, watching from behind a pillar. After Marcus left, one of them made a phone call. 10 minutes later, Margaret's car came back into the garage. She parked and got out. One of the men approached her. We can't hear what they're saying, Walsh said. But watch. On the video, Margaret looked scared. The man showed her something on his phone. Margaret's face went white. She nodded and got into a different car with the men. They drove away. They showed her something that made her go with them voluntarily, Rivera said. Probably a threat against her family. Where's her daughter and grandson now? Marcus asked. Safe, we have them in protective custody. But Margaret doesn't know that. She probably thinks they're in danger. Walsh closed the video. Mr. Thompson, I need to ask you some difficult questions. How well did you know Margaret before yesterday? I didn't. I met her for the first time at the youth center dinner. And Sarah Chen asked you to make contact with her? Yes, Margaret was Sarah's witness. She wouldn't talk to anyone else. Walsh exchanged a look with Rivera. Mr. Thompson, I ran your background this morning. Very thoroughly. Okay, Marcus said carefully. You spent time at the Eastside Youth Center as a teenager, from 2009 to 2011. During that same time, David Brennan was the treasurer of the center's board. Did you know him then? Marcus felt his stomach drop. No, I never met board members. I was just a kid in the programs. But you were there, in the building. At the same time Brennan was stealing money. What are you saying? I'm trying to understand the full picture. 10 years ago, you were at the youth center. Brennan was stealing money. Now 10 years later, you're the one who found Officer Chen. You're the one who made contact with our witness. You're the one who has photos of all the evidence. Marcus stood up, anger flooding through him. You think I'm involved? You think I'm working with Brennan? I'm exploring all possibilities. I saved Sarah's life. I risked my own safety to help this investigation. Or, Walsh said calmly, you inserted yourself into the investigation to keep track of what we know. Maybe the accident that injured Officer Chen wasn't meant to kill her. Maybe it was meant to put you in position to control the flow of information. That's insane. Rivera stood up too. Kate, come on. Marcus isn't dirty. I'd bet my badge on it. Your faith is admirable, but I need evidence, not feelings. Mr. Thompson, where were you between 8 and midnight last night? At home, alone, after I dropped my kids at my mother's house, and can anyone verify that? No, I was alone. Walsh made a note. And you have the only copies of the evidence photos? Yes, on my phone. I need to take your phone. For evidence. Marcus handed it over reluctantly. This was going all wrong. He was trying to help, and now they thought he was a criminal. Am I under arrest? He asked. No, but don't leave town. I'll be in touch. Marcus left the office feeling numb. He drove home on autopilot. His phone was gone. His kids were gone. Margaret was missing. And now the police thought he might be a criminal. At home, Marcus made coffee and tried to think. There had to be a way to prove his innocence. There had to be a way to find Margaret. He turned on his laptop and started searching. News articles about Brennan. Public records. Property ownership. Anything that might help. Then Marcus remembered something. When he was photographing Margaret's documents, he had noticed something odd. One of the shell companies had an address. Most were fake, but one was real. An address on the edge of town. An old industrial area. Marcus had made a mental note of it at the time, thinking it was strange. Why would Brennan use a real address for one of his fake companies? He pulled up a map. The address was for a warehouse. Abandoned, according to Street View, but owned by a company called Eastside Holdings LLC. Marcus dug deeper. Eastside Holdings was registered to a lawyer named Thomas Chen. But Chen was disbarred 5 years ago for ethics violations. The company should have been dissolved, but it wasn't. Someone was keeping it active, paying taxes on the property. Marcus had a feeling, a strong feeling. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the door. Where do you think you're going? Marcus spun around. Sarah was standing in his driveway, leaning on crutches. Behind her was a police car. Sarah, what are you doing here? You should be in the hospital. I checked myself out. Rivera called me. Told me what Walsh said to you. It's garbage, Marcus. I know you're not working with Brennan. Walsh doesn't believe that. Walsh is being careful. It's her job. But I know people, Marcus. I've been a cop for 10 years. You're not dirty. Marcus felt relief wash over him. At least someone believed him. I think I know where Margaret might be, he said. Where? Marcus explained about the warehouse address. It's probably nothing, but it's worth checking out. Let's go. You're in no condition to. I'm going. With or without you. Now get in the car. They drove to the industrial area. Sarah was in pain but determined. The uniformed officer, a young man named Chen who was no relation to Sarah, drove while they talked. Margaret trusted me, Sarah said. If something happens to her because of this case, I'll never forgive myself. This isn't your fault. Yes, it is. I should have anticipated this. Should have protected her better. You were in a hospital bed. You couldn't have known. They reached the address. The warehouse was exactly as Street View had shown it. Old, abandoned looking. Windows covered with boards. A chain-link fence around the property. Looks empty, Officer Chen said. Let's get closer, Sarah said. They parked down the street and walked to the fence. Marcus saw tire tracks in the mud. Fresh ones. Someone's been here recently, he said. Sarah looked at the building carefully. There's light coming from one of the upper windows. See it? Behind the boards. She was right. A faint glow like someone had a light on inside. We need backup, Officer Chen said, reaching for his radio. No, Sarah said. Not yet. If we call it in, Walsh will shut us down. She thinks Marcus is compromised. She won't authorize a search based on his hunch. So what do? We get closer. Just to observe. We're not going inside. Just checking if there's probable cause. They found a gap in the fence and slipped through. The warehouse was quiet. Too quiet. They moved along the side of the building looking for an entrance. Marcus found a window that wasn't completely boarded up. He looked inside. It was dark, but he could make out shapes, boxes, equipment, and in the far corner a light under a door. "Someone's definitely here," he whispered. They moved to a side door. It was locked, but the lock was new. Someone had recently installed it. "We need to call this in," Officer Chen said again. Sarah was about to agree when they heard a sound from inside. A voice shouting, a woman's voice, "Help! Someone help me!" "Margaret, that's her," Sarah said. "That's Margaret's voice." They didn't have time to wait for backup. Marcus tried the door. Locked. He looked around and found a metal pipe near a dumpster. "Stand back," he said. He swung the pipe at the door handle. Once. Twice. The third time, the lock broke. The door swung open. Inside, the warehouse was dark and dusty. 6 weeks later, Marcus stood in a crowded courtroom. He wore his only suit bought years ago for his wife's funeral. Emma and Tyler sat with his mother in the second row. Sarah sat next to him in her dress uniform, her legs still healing but getting stronger every day. David Brennan sat at the defense table, smaller and grayer than he had been. Prison had not been kind to him. His expensive suits were gone. His confidence was gone. All that remained was a tired, broken man facing justice. Judge Patricia Morrison looked over her glasses at the packed courtroom. "This is the sentencing hearing for David Brennan, case number 47-38-92. Mr. Brennan has pleaded guilty to 14 counts of embezzlement, fraud, and conspiracy." "Is the prosecution ready?" District Attorney Walsh stood. "Yes, Your Honor." "Is the defense ready?" Brennan's lawyer stood. "Yes, Your Honor. Before I pass sentence, I want to hear from the victims. Who wishes to speak?" Several people raised their hands. The judge called them forward one by one. Mr. Patterson went first. He walked slowly to the microphone, leaning on his cane. His voice shook as he spoke. "Your Honor, I've worked at the Eastside Youth Center for 32 years. I've seen thousands of children come through our doors. Kids who were lost, angry, scared. Kids from broken homes and dangerous neighborhoods. And we helped them. We gave them hope." He paused, wiping his eyes. David Brennan stole that hope. He stole money that could have saved lives. That could have given children futures they deserved. I think about all the kids we couldn't help because the money wasn't there. Kids who fell through the cracks. Kids who ended up in gangs, in prison, or dead. Maybe we could have saved them if we'd had the resources. We'll never know now. Mr. Patterson looked at Brennan. "I've dedicated my life to helping people. You dedicated yours to helping yourself. I hope you spend your prison time thinking about that." He sat down. The judge called the next person. Marcus felt Sarah tense beside him. A woman was walking to the microphone. She was in her 40s, well-dressed, with graying hair. She looked nervous. "State your name for the record," the judge said. "Jennifer Martinez. I was a scholarship applicant in 2010, one of the 5 who should have received funding." Sarah's hand found Marcus's. She squeezed tight. "I wanted to go to college," Jennifer continued. "I wanted to be a teacher. I had the grades. I had the drive. But I couldn't afford it. The youth center told me I qualified for their scholarship program. $5,000. Enough for my first year at community college." Her voice got stronger. "But the money never came. They said there were problems with the funding. Errors in the accounting. I waited and waited, but nothing. Eventually, I had to give up. I got a job at a grocery store. I got married, had kids. It took me 12 years to finally finish my degree, going to night school while working full-time." She looked at Brennan with anger in her eyes. "I'm a teacher now. I finally made it. But it was so much harder than it should have been. And I was lucky. Not all of us made it. Robert Williams is in prison. Thomas Lee is dead. Daniel Chen is dead. We were 15 and 16 years old, and you destroyed our futures for your own greed." Jennifer's voice broke. "I hope you think about us every day you're in prison. I hope you see our faces and remember what you took from us." She walked back to her seat. The courtroom was silent except for quiet crying. The judge called more victims. Parents of kids who couldn't get into programs because the funding wasn't there. Teachers who watched students struggle without resources. Community members who donated money not knowing it was being stolen. Finally, the judge called Sarah. Sarah stood and walked to the microphone. She didn't need her crutches anymore. Her leg was healing well, but Marcus could see the pain in her face, the emotional pain that would take much longer to heal. "Your Honor, my name is Officer Sarah Chen. I'm the investigator who built the case against David Brennan." "Officer Chen, You're here as a victim, not as a police witness? Yes, Your Honor. My younger brother, Daniel Chen, was one of the 5 scholarship recipients in 2010. He was 15 years old. Smart, kind, funny. He wanted to use that scholarship money to attend a private school across town, away from the gang activity in our neighborhood. Sarah's hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. The money never came. Danny stayed in the same school, walked the same dangerous streets, and 6 months later he was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting. Wrong place, wrong time. The courtroom was absolutely silent. For 10 years I've been angry about Danny's death. I became a cop because of it. I dedicated my life to protecting kids like him. And then I discovered what Brennan had done. That Danny might have lived if he'd gotten the scholarship he deserved. That his death was preventable. Sarah looked directly at Brennan. You didn't pull the trigger that killed my brother, but you killed him just as surely as if you had. You took his chance to escape. You took his future. You took him from me. And for what? So you could pay off gambling debts? So you could buy expensive things? Tears ran down Sarah's face now, but she didn't wipe them away. I've spent 6 weeks trying to forgive you, trying to let go of my anger. But I can't. What you did was evil, pure evil. And I hope you spend every day of your sentence thinking about the 5 kids whose lives you destroyed. Thinking about Danny. Sarah walked back to her seat. Marcus put his arm around her shoulders. She was shaking. The judge was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. Mr. Brennan, do you wish to make a statement before I pass sentence? Brennan stood slowly. His lawyer whispered something to him, but Brennan shook his head. He walked to the microphone. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. His voice was hoarse. I don't deserve it. What I did was wrong, inexcusable. I told myself it was just money, that I would pay it back, that no one would really get hurt. He looked at the victims in the courtroom. But people did get hurt. Children got hurt. And I have to live with that for the rest of my life. Officer Chen, I am so sorry about your brother. I wish I could take it back. I wish I could give you those years with him. But I can't. All I can do is say I'm sorry and mean it. Brennan's voice broke. I was a coward, a thief, a terrible person, and I deserve everything that happens to me. He sat down. His lawyer looked surprised. Apparently that wasn't the statement they had prepared. Judge Morrison looked at her papers. Then she looked at Brennan. Mr. Brennan, I've been a judge for 23 years. I've seen every kind of criminal. Violent offenders, drug dealers, thieves. But what you did is particularly disturbing. You stole from children, from the most vulnerable members of our society. You stole their hope, their futures, their very lives in some cases. She picked up her gavel. The prosecution has recommended 7 to 12 years as part of your plea agreement. However, I have discretion within those parameters. Based on the severity of your crimes and the impact on your victims, I sentence you to the maximum, 12 years in state prison, with no possibility of parole before serving at least 10 years. Brennan closed his eyes. 12 years. He would be an old man when he got out. Additionally, the judge continued, you will pay full restitution of $375,000 to the East Side Youth Center, plus interest and damages for a total of $520,000. Your assets will be seized and sold to pay this debt. The gavel came down. Bang. Furthermore, upon your release, you will be permanently barred from serving on any board of directors for any charity or nonprofit organization. You will be barred from handling finances for any organization other than your own personal accounts. These restrictions will remain in effect for the rest of your life. Bang. Finally, you will perform 500 hours of community service upon your release, working directly with at-risk youth, so you can see firsthand the people you harmed. Bang. Court is adjourned. The courtroom erupted. People were crying, hugging, talking. Brennan was led away in handcuffs. He looked back once at the courtroom, at all the people he had hurt, and then he was gone. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Cameras flashed. Microphones were shoved into faces. Walsh gave a statement about justice being served. Sarah declined to comment and slipped away through a side door. Marcus found her sitting on a bench in a small park behind the courthouse. She was staring at nothing, tears on her face. It's over, Marcus said, sitting beside her. Is it? Does this bring Danny back? Does this fix anything? No, but it stops Brennan from hurting anyone else. And it gives the youth center a chance to help more kids. Kids like Danny. Sarah nodded slowly. I know, I thought I would feel better. Feel satisfied. But I just feel empty. That's normal. You spent 10 years wanting this, working toward this, and now it's done. It'll take time to figure out what comes next. They sat in silence for a while. Emma and Tyler ran over, followed by Marcus's mother. Daddy, is the bad man going to jail? Tyler asked. Yes, buddy. For a long time. Good. He was mean to kids. Emma looked at Sarah. Are you sad? Sarah smiled through her tears. A little, but I'll be okay. Daddy says you're our friend now. Is that true? I'd like to be. Then you should come to dinner with us. Daddy is making his special lasagna tonight. Sarah looked at Marcus. He nodded. You're welcome anytime. The kids would love it. Okay, Sarah said. I'd like that. That evening, Sarah came to Marcus's small house.